If you pulled your groin from doing sprint training after 5 years of no cardio at all, like me, or you just pulled your groin, then this video is for you. Hey guys, welcome back to Mike's Mighty Muscles. On this channel, I focus on effective fitness tips with efficiency. So about 2 to 3 months ago, I did some sprint training and I hadn't done any running for about 5 or so years. And about 5 seconds into my sprint training, I pulled my groin. And I'm fully recovered now, but I think it's a great time to share a video telling you guys 3 different stretches in order to help speed up the recovery process, as well as 2 exercises that will help prevent a groin injury to begin with or from happening again. Now, the first thing that you want to do if you have a groin strain is apply an ice pack to where it hurts the most for about 20 minutes, a few times for the first couple days. But if you're in excruciating pain and you can hardly move, it's probably a good idea to go see a doctor. If the pain is manageable, apply the ice for the first few days and then start doing some of the stretches that I'm about to show you. Right, so the first stretch you want to do is a side lunge stretch. And basically what you do is you take a step out, keep your feet facing forwards, bend at your knee, keep this leg straight, get into a posterior pelvic tilt, so you're raising your hips up, stand up nice and tall, activate your transverse abdominis muscle. If you don't know how to do that, check out that video up there. And then you just want to lean into the stretch, and you should feel a nice stretch all on the inside up here. Feel free to play around with how far you step out, if it's further out or if it's closer in. Also lean forward a bit or lean back a bit. Just do whatever feels right for you, where you feel the most stretch in your groin. And make sure to do that for both legs, obviously. And hold that stretch for 30 seconds to 60 seconds and do that for a couple reps. So for the second stretch, it's called a butterfly stretch, and this will target your groin as well. So what you want to do, sit on the ground, put your feet together, bring your feet as close as you can to your body. I like to lift my toes up a little bit, and then you want to sit up nice and tall and try bring your knees as far to the ground as you can. And hold this stretch for 30 seconds to 60 seconds for a couple of reps as well. For the next stretch, we're going to be stretching our hip flexors. And in order to do this stretch, you want to imagine that you're about to propose to someone. So you take a knee. Next, you want to get into a posterior pelvic tilt, so you're raising your hips up. Make sure that your hips are facing forwards, so they're not facing the side, facing forwards. Keep your chest up, your torso high. Activate your transverse abdominis, and then lean into the stretch. Now, you don't need to lean very far to feel a good stretch all up here. If you're leaning this far forward, you're probably not doing the stretch right. Make sure to do the stretch for both legs and hold it for 30 seconds to 60 seconds each side, and do that for a couple reps as well. Now, you want to make sure that you're doing all of these stretches every day to get the best results. It's good to mention as well that you don't want to be in any pain when you're doing these exercises. If you're feeling pain, back off a little bit to the point where you're feeling slight discomfort but no pain, because you don't want to be injuring yourself anymore. It's probably good to be mentioning as well that it's good to stretch your quads and your hamstrings. Now, to stretch your quads, grab your foot behind you like this. I like to grab my toes because it gives a good stretch all up the front of your leg. Grab your toes. If you need to hold on to something, hold on to something. Now, you want to make sure that your knees are about the same level. Posterior pelvic tilt, standing up nice and tall, and then just try to bring your foot back towards your bum. And hold that stretch for 30 seconds, both legs, for a couple reps each. And a good stretch for the hamstrings is to try to reach for the ground. So for this stretch, you want to keep your legs nice and straight. You want to be in an anterior pelvic tilt, and then you want to try to reach for the ground. Now, if you can only get to here while maintaining a good anterior pelvic tilt, that's perfectly fine. You want to be going down as far as you can to where you're feeling a slight discomfort but no pain. So reach down as far as you can, hold the stretch for 30 seconds, Do that for a couple reps. So now that we've addressed the stretches that will help speed up the recovery process, we want to start strengthening our glutes in order to prevent this from happening again or prevent this from happening to begin with. And the first exercise we're going to be doing is by using a wall. So you want to stand up next to the wall, and your leg closest to the wall, you want to bend at your knee. Now you want your knees to be next to each other, and you want to be facing forwards. Next, you want to be in a posterior pelvic tilt. Engage your transverse abdominis, stand up nice and tall, and then squeeze your glute that's on your leg that's standing on the ground as hard as you can. And this is going to raise your hips up slightly. And then you just want to push as hard as you can against the wall while squeezing your glute as hard as you can. Hold that for 15 seconds, do both sides, and do that for 10 reps each leg. And for the last few exercises, the first one, you want to do a glute bridge. And to do this exercise, you want to lay on your back, have your knees bent, and then squeezing your glutes, you want to raise your hips up so that your body is nice and straight. Don't raise up so high that your lower back's starting to arch though. Just go until your body's nice and straight, and then come back down and then do that for reps. You want to do that for about 10 reps for 3 sets. And once you can do that, you can move on to the glute bridge march. I don't know if it's actually called that, but that's what I'm calling it. So to do this exercise, you want to make sure that your hips are nice and level, and then start marching your feet like this. Now, if your hips aren't level, it's going to look something like this. And that's not what you want. The main point of this exercise is to keep your hips nice and straight during the whole movement. So it doesn't matter which leg goes off the ground, your hips stay nice and straight the whole time. Now, once you get good at that exercise, you can move on to the single leg glute bridge. So extend one of your legs, squeeze your glute, and for the whole duration of this movement, you want your hips to stay nice and level. Come up and back down. Up and back down. And then obviously do that for both legs for 10 reps each leg for a few sets. So that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next Sunday.